What's up, everybody, and welcome on back to the episode of the My Side of Things podcast. This is now episode 36. I'm your host, as always, Ash. We got a whole lot of things in the docket to get to today, including talking about a little update on where I've been for the past 2 weeks. Obviously, I've not had any episodes out. Did not really give any kind of warning either about it, and it has not just been because of the heat. We also got to talk about all-in predictions, evolution predictions. I did say in the health update that I would be talking about these two. We're also going to be talking about evolution and why this build-up should not be the most surprising in the world. We're also going to talk about the Seth riders as well and their evaluation, how they've been so far. What would I grade this group? And we're going to be talking about the TNA president actively trying to destroy TNA. But before we do jump into all that, though, whether you're listening to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcast at, like, follow, share, rate, subscribe, notification bells, comment, all that great stuff that definitely does help the channel out and the podcast out so dang much. Ooh, I'm gonna drop my I dropped my hat. I don't wait, it's on the back. It's just hanging off the back of my head. But yeah, helps the podcast out so dang much. Appreciate all the Patreon subs. Definitely appreciate every single one of y'all. Shout out to all the new people who have been checking out the podcast as well, even though I have been on a bit of a hiatus. And let's go ahead and just jump right into that. So I did give a bit of an update a few days ago as far as, like, you know, why I haven't been here. I said it was wisdom teeth. Ended up going to the dentist. It's not the wisdom teeth. They're actually all perfectly fine and all that stuff. Most of them grew in all the way. One of them grew in basically all the way, like a little tiny flap you got to clean out every once in a while. You got to clean out every single time, but other than that, they're perfectly fine. So, and my mouth is apparently big enough to also have all my wisdom teeth. I don't know if my dentist was sneak dissing or if he was being freaky or what, but okay, man, I ain't really need to be told all that. Although if it was sneak dissing, I can't be mad because I be sneak dissing my students all the day time too. So, but it is being freaky. Yeah, keep your freaky stuff over there, freaking man, freak dentist. But no, it wasn't the wisdom teeth at all. So now we're just trying to figure out exactly what it is. I got a doctor's visit in a couple of days as well because it has just been a lot of these head pains and neck pains and just jaw pains, and just talking a lot makes it even worse. And it's really not even just talking in general. It's just headaches. It's not just talking. It's headaches just in general. Horrible, really bad headaches that start making me get a little bit of lightheadedness. So I've just been, you know, trying to take things as easy as I possibly could be by not doing the podcast stuff, by not doing the gaming stuff. I still do record TikToks because that's just another big source of income, but I've tried to, like, even calm those down as well and just try to go live a bit more. So I'll just be laying in my bed while I'm live. Haven't really been able to sit this dang chair because this chair sucks. I gotta get a new chair, to be honest, but I just don't feel like spending $150 even though I have it. So yeah, nah, it's just a lot of things right now that we're trying to figure out exactly what the heck it is. Is it something serious? Is it something that's just, you know, like migraines and stuff like that? Is it possibly just a big stress factor? So yeah, not really sure right now. I can't give you a full update. That's the biggest update I can give you, is that that's the reason why I have been away, just because I have been in a whole lot of pain these past 2 weeks. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start jumping into these topics, which the first big topic is jumping into the all-in predictions. We will end with the evolution predictions, and everything else will just kind of be smushed into the middle, leading in and going into properly as it should. But let's go ahead and start with these all-in predictions, starting off with the women's Casino Gauntlet. Obviously, we had the starters being Kris Statlander and the mega sis Megan Bayne herself. Number 1, Kris. Number 2, Megan. I do hope that both of them do get, like, special entrances for this match, seeing as how the women's Casino Gauntlet has kind of just been treated as whatever this year. Yeah, if you're a fan of women's wrestling, especially, you know, the women's wrestling that isn't just women's wrestling only, but you're a fan of, like, seeing women's wrestling in general and not just, like, in the companies that, you know, are women's wrestling only, yeah, no, it's not been the funnest of times. Been very much so. Here you go, damn. But I really do hope that they get some, like, special entrances, or at least even something that's, like, a little more different than, like, what they would normally have. But this Casino Gauntlet is very interesting to pick because I mean, if you listen to the past few episodes, I said that I believe there was going to be a women's tag match at All In. There's still not a women's tag match to be announced. I thought that there was going to be a women's a women's tag team championship being announced for All In. Still not getting that. I thought Mercedes versus Mina was going to be happening at All In as well. I knew it was going to happen on the episode 300, as I predicted, told y'all. But I also thought that it was going to happen at Evolution, not Evolution. I thought it was going to be happening. It damn sure wouldn't happen at Evolution because they wouldn't even care to book it. They don't care about stories over there. But I thought it was going to be happening on the pre-show at least, where Mercedes would lose to Mina on the pre-show and then go on to defeat Toni in the main event or wherever it would be, wherever the match would be at and All In on like the actual card. But that's not happening either. So it's like every one of those women that are in those tag teams, Anna Jay, Ty Mello, Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford, Sky Blue, Julia Hart, all have very much so needed reasons for winning the Casino Gauntlet. Because what are they going to do afterwards? Are they going to continue just to be in a tag team that literally goes nowhere? Are you going to be able to do that with, some pretty big stars right there, some pretty damn good wrestlers, with somebody in Megan Bayne, who I'm pretty sure you gave a pretty big contract to be able to bring over to AEW? You have Julia Hart, who I believe is one of your futures of your women's division. You have Anna Jay, who I believe is someone that's very much so underutilized in AEW and should be a lot bigger than she is. So, like, what are you going to be doing there? You're going to have them eventually going to a tag title. Sure, maybe you can have it still get unveiled at all out. Damn, Bert, all right, you trying to get some commentary in too, huh, my guy? Hey, man, go ahead, let us... never mind. You don't want to let us know your opinions anymore, huh? But you definitely wanted that match to be at All In, huh? I feel you on that, Bert. I feel you on that. But it's like you could still have these, these belts be unveiled later on at like an All Out or something like that. Heck, they could even get revealed the Wednesday after All In, which would be pretty cool as well. Like a cool way to go into like this new, I guess you can call it new season, quote unquote. But it's like, I don't know. But if you are, live in delusional world where you are still going to unveil the women's tag belts, you're going to have something for all these women's tag teams, then all those women that I just named don't need the Casino Gauntlet because they're going to be going into the tag division. I would also say that women like Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander also wouldn't need it as well, because I think they're going to likely be having a Hangman Swerve-esque story where they will eventually come together, but I think they're going to come together even more and actually end up being a tag team and end up going into that tag division. So it's like they won't need the Casino Gauntlet either, so... Not the belt, but the Casino Gauntlet. They won't need the Casino Gauntlet win either. So then you have a woman like Athena. I've been, saying that it should be Athena, but one of my mutuals, my guy Zodiac, he did let me know, well, if Athena's not going to be re-signing, which there hasn't been any, talks about her re-signing, is she actually going to win the Casino Gauntlet? Are you going to put that win onto her if she's not re-signing? That's a very much so true statement. So that means that she might also be out of this as well. Well, then what about Mina Shirakawa? Someone that definitely, is going to need something to do going forward. Maybe you have her and Toni be a tag team down the line, but what do you do at least for like the next couple of months, though, while Toni is probably taking some time off? I think Mina is going to need something to do. You can't really just keep throwing her in random feuds. I mean, being in the Mercedes stuff was cool, but it's like, where do you go next? Are you going to run Mina Shirakawa and Tekla? If you do run that, then maybe neither one of those women need a Casino Gauntlet. But if you're not going to run that, then you do need something to do with Mina. And even if you do run Mina and Tekla, no title for how long exactly? Can you, can you get away with having this be for no title? I mean, you can, because Tekla has a reason for going after Mina, and I guess Mina has a reason for going after Tekla as well, but that's going to be interesting to see if you do actually want to do that. What about, so then it's like, okay, well then who the heck could be the option? Is it actually going to be Alex Windsor, the woman that's making her AEW debut likely in this Casino Gauntlet? Could she not only make her debut in it, but also win it as well? I mean, we did see that Paige was able to make her main roster debut and win the Divas Championship the exact same night after just being an NXT Women's Championship, or NXT Women's Champion. So could Alex Windsor pull a Paige and win the first night that she ever appears in AEW? How does that, really... How does your locker room feel about that? Do they feel that that's right for her to be able to get her debut and it actually be, for her to have her debut and it actually be a win of the Women's Casino Gauntlet? Does that, sit right with them? I mean, me personally, I wouldn't really like some new signee just coming in and winning the Casino Gauntlet right off the bat, but I mean, then again, it is Alex Windsor, and I would probably also say if Alex Windsor does win it and I'm one of those women in that whole entire locker room, I'm going to start feeling like, okay, did she get this because she earned it, or did she get this because she's Will Ospreay's, wife? Like, I think that's going to definitely come into question as well. There's going to be people that do think that for sure, especially within, like, just the wrestling fandom, the AEW fandom as well. And I think that won't be good for Alex. You want Alex to come in and, not be just talked about so much as Will Ospreay's wife. Oh, this is Ospreay's wife. Oh, look, she's getting stuff because she's Ospreay's wife. Like, you don't want those narratives to start happening, because then it's going to be really hard for her to ever be a face. So you don't want that to be happening. So I think you don't want her to win it in her debut. Well, then, who the heck could actually win this? Who the heck could actually win this? I talked about so many dang names. Well, the name that I'm going to pencil in depends on the winner of Mercedes versus Toni. If Mercedes does win, you're going to need a super duper mega baby face. You're going to need somebody that not only has pushed Mercedes in the past, but has also shown that she is not that far behind Mercedes either. And I think that woman is going to be Willow Nightingale. I think she's so dang over as a face right now. Everybody loves this woman. Everybody wants to see this woman get, just championships, wants to see her have a successful career. And I think that being the woman to be able to dethrone Mercedes Moné, if Mercedes does win it, is going to do a lot for Willow Nightingale. She's signed to a big contract, going to be there for the next few years. I think you're going to want to give her a title within the next year or two, the world title to be specific. I think that this would do wonders for Willow Nightingale. I think it'd be a really good storyline between her and Mercedes. I think they'd be able to tell an amazing story. I think that they'd be able to have an amazing match as well. They've already had two really damn good ones. I would love to see a part 3, but if it's Toni Storm that wins, I got Jamie Hayter winning the Casino Gauntlet. I think Jamie Hayter is going to get that revenge. I don't think AEW dropping that revenge storyline. I think a lot of it was just that they're not sure about Jamie and her back issues and all that. But if she's cleared to go, I think Jamie Hayter could easily cost Toni Storm either the match against Mercedes Moné, and this is what leads to the big old revenge storyline between these two, or Jamie Hayter could just cash in on Toni Storm at any possible chance. Maybe not this Mercedes Moné match, but maybe another match and go on to win that AEW World title by taking from her the same exact way that Toni took from Jamie back in the day. So I think if it's Mercedes, I'm going with Willow. If it's Toni, I am going with Jamie. But I'm going to just pick one now because I feel like I got to pick one at least. And I'm going to say I'm going with Willow Nightingale. I think Willow Nightingale is going to be a champion this year, and she's probably going to dethrone Mercedes Moné the same way that John Cena approached about when he won the Money in the Bank. It's just, I'm challenging you here. I want the match here at Full Gear, at Wrestle Dream, at World's End, wherever it's at. I think that Willow Nightingale is going to challenge and going to get the AEW Women's World title this year. Now, as far as on the men's side, I'm going to be real with you. The discussion is not as in-depth, in my opinion, because there are literally two guys who can win this. MJF and Darby Allin. It's one of those two. I don't think it's literally anybody else. I like Mark Briscoe. It's not him. I don't like the way that Mark Briscoe's been pushed as of recent. Well, just kind of been pushed ever since, the tragic incidents. I feel like he should have been a guy that got a whole lot more. You see like that second guy always gets a lot more eventually. Matt Hardy, Christian, Jimmy Uso. I wish Mark Briscoe would kind of get his shine at some point in time. But I don't think it's going to be here. I think the only two people that can win this Casino Gauntlet are MJF and Darby Allin. Ricochet is a sleeper pick, but I don't think he's someone that's going to win it either. I think they're going to end up either getting the Trios belts or he's going to get the TNT belt. One of the two, it's very possible that maybe Kyle Fletcher doesn't beat Adam Cole and Ricochet goes on to beat Adam Cole instead. But I do think it's one of these two guys, MJF, Darby Allin. The reason why I say MJF is because of what I've said before. I think MJF is going to need a world title at some point in time. And yes, MJF already had his world title reign. He had a historic title reign as well. But I just made a whole entire TikTok video on this as well. MJF is also one of the big saviors of AEW this past year with the 2024 not being the greatest in the world. Y'all definitely gassed it with how bad it actually was. It was not horrible. Just had moments where it wasn't really the most interesting, but MJF definitely is one of the big saviors, a guy that has shown he has superstar potential, not just in AEW, not just in wrestling, but in, like the famous world, the Hollywood world as well. He's shown that he can be a household name outside of wrestling, and he didn't even need WWE to do so. He's getting on movies, he's getting on TV shows, on talk shows, he's being on YouTubers platforms and all that stuff. Like, he's literally every single place, and he's been able to show that you don't need a WWE to be a famous person in wrestling, as his words, not mine. He said that he didn't need to be on a Monday Night Raw, and he's on all these dang things. He's with Becky Lynch and all that stuff, so that you can be in AEW and still, become a famous person if that is your dreams as well with wrestling. And I think that's very big because that's shown like a lot of indie wrestlers, a lot of incoming possible talent to either AEW or WWE that then, you know, I can still wrestle the style I want to wrestle while going over to AEW and doing what I want to do outside of wrestling, which is be, you know, big over here, big over there, big on some kind of platform, something like that. So I do believe that at some point in time, MJF is going to have to start getting a lot more of his just dues and not just that one AEW world title reign about 2 years ago, but possibly another one as well, especially with this big storyline with the Hurt Syndicate. I think he's somebody that easily could get the title with or without the Casino Gauntlet, but I think the Casino Gauntlet might just be a tad bit better for him just because of the fact that it's, you know, it kind of fits in with the whole MJF narrative of him being a heel, him getting stuff in very cheap ways and all that, and it would be similar to how he got his first one. So if you do want to go there, you could easily go with MJF, and I think it doesn't matter whether Moxley or Hangman wins because he's already said himself, even if Moxley does win, I've already beat Moxley, so why would I not try to cash in and beat him again? He said if it's Hangman, though, that's a whole different question. That was pretty funny as well. But on Darby All-In side, this is where things are going to get very interesting because y'all know that I have not wanted Darby to be the guy to dethrone Moxley. But what if he's the guy to dethrone Moxley and Hangman? Now, obviously, Hangman isn't the champion. It won't be the champion in the match, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Like, what if he's the guy that cashes in on both of them and turns into a tweener? What if he stops being such a trying to be babyface Cody Rhodes and instead says, let me be a little more Sting. Let me be the guy that's just going to take my opportunity when I see it. And he wins the Casino Gauntlet and says, you know what? Moxley was mine from the beginning. Moxley took out Bryan Danielson. Moxley took out Orange Cassidy, my mentor. Moxley took me out. I tried rallying everybody behind me, and nobody would do it. Hangman, I even thought that you would be able to work with Cassidy and Jay White to be able to take down Moxley, but you couldn't do that either. But you can go work with Swerve. You can go be cool now with Swerve and make amends with him and all that stuff. So I already don't really rock with you because you didn't even try rocking with me and my guys. And then Moxley, you're bald, and I also don't like you because of what you did. So he goes and said, you know what? Let me cash in on this match because Moxley is mine. Nobody else can beat him. You guys don't think that I could be a world champion. Let me also go out there and prove that as well by getting the AEW World Championship in a Texas death match that I wasn't even a part of from the beginning, but I definitely will be the part of it at the ending and winning it and having my hand raised. I could very much so see that being the possibility. Again, I made a whole TikTok video on this as well, and I was sitting there like, oh my gosh, it's so possible. But he doesn't need to be a heel specifically either. Like on Wednesday, if Hangman comes down and he starts calling out Darby and all that stuff, all Darby has to say is exactly what I said, is that you guys did not ever want to help me. Nobody ever wanted to work with us in the conglomeration. Hangman, you had Orange Cassidy right there that you could have easily worked with, but you did not want to work with him to take down Moxley. And what happened? Moxley still kept holding the title at World's End because you guys couldn't work together. That led to me getting pushed down a dang flight of stairs and, you know, getting offed and all that stuff. So it's like, Darby has every reason to not work with Hangman. I don't even think him helping Hangman should be a thing at All In. And then obviously with Moxley, it's very much so simple. With Ospreay and them too, even like if Ospreay does want to go after Darby could easily say, Will, I asked you for help and you only cared about winning. You literally only cared about winning a continental belt that was not, you know, trying to, I guess the person holding it was not trying to reign terror and destroy AEW. You cared more about your own self than you actually did being the hero, yet you go around trying to act like you are the hero. Again, he has so much amazing storylines with a lot of guys, and he could then easily just drop the belt to MJF because MJF has the Hurt Syndicate behind him, and that would make MJF an even bigger heel than he already would be because now he's taking down a guy like Darby, who was the guy to save AEW. So who am I going with? Am I going with MJF or am I going with Darby Allin? Well, I'm going with Darby. I think I think Darby Allin is going to be all in by the end of the night and be your new AEW World Champion. Again, I wanted it to be Hangman. I wanted Hangman to be the guy to dethrone Moxley. Obviously, so many people do as well, but I think that this story makes so much sense for Darby to win. Also, Hangman defeating Moxley would literally just be Cody defeating Roman at like WrestleMania 39 or 40. Well, he didn't defeat him at 39, but this buildup is very much so 39-esque. You got your big three. You got Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes versus the Bloodline. You got Hangman, Swerve, and Moxley. Oh, not Moxley. Hangman, Swerve, and Will versus, the Death Riders. You have Hangman, the guy that's the big superstar that should be the guy defeating Moxley. You got Cody Rhodes, the big superstar that should be defeating Roman Reigns, even though both of these guys weren't there from the beginning. It was Darby Allin, it was Jey Uso, and Jay never got to defeat Roman. Instead, he lost to him because of interference. Darby Allin could be the guy that gets the win here because even though it doesn't really, look the greatest on paper that Darby's defeating Moxley, this is AEW. This is the alternative wrestling place. This is the place where anybody could possibly get a world title, and you don't just have to look the part of a champion. You just got to be a champion inside. And so it's like Darby could be the guy to actually dethrone Moxley to continue pushing that narrative that anybody can be a world champion, no matter what you do look like, no matter if you don't really fit the narrative of a champion and all that. So I do think that Darby should be the guy to at least win it so that it's not so bloodline-esque. But hey, speaking of factions and all that stuff, though, let's go ahead and talk about Mr. Adam Cole, baby, versus Kyle Fletcher, baby. We got Adam Cole versus Kyle Fletcher for the TNT Championship. And this is an interesting one because I think a lot of people suspect that Kyle Fletcher should win here. He should beat Adam Cole. He should go on to be the TNT champion. But does it have to end here? Does Adam Cole and Kyle Fletcher's story have to end here? Can it be a bit more, of a story? Could we eventually get the Adam Cole, Kyle Fletcher, Daniel Garcia match that I thought we probably should have gotten at All In? Could we potentially get Adam Cole, Kyle Fletcher, Daniel Garcia, Anthony Bowens match that I thought we also should have got at All In? Could that match eventually happen at All Out? Could we eventually, just get more of this storyline between Adam Cole and Kyle Fletcher that really pushes Kyle Fletcher to really, really go down that Randy route? Since we want to call him Randy Orton 2.0, really go down it and get a whole lot more violent, because in this feud, he hasn't really done much. He hasn't really done much to Adam Cole other than that one little time where he threw him on the ring apron head first. But we haven't seen that level of violence from Kyle Fletcher. We haven't really seen Kyle really step out of the Randy Orton evolution and step more into that Randy Orton 09, where he is just the most sick and sadistic man possible. And I think Kyle Fletcher could end up doing that if this feud does get carried out. So because of that, I'm going to go with Adam Cole actually gets the win here, only because a big time feud for the TNT title is going to make the TNT title look a lot bigger, other than just, Kyle Fletcher getting the TNT title and then that's just it. Now, sure, Kyle Fletcher could continue feuding with Adam Cole afterwards, but we want Kyle Fletcher to look more like a heel and be an even bigger heel and not just a running away type of heel. We want him to actually go after Adam Cole, try destroying Adam Cole. So it's very possible that Adam could get the win here, and then Kyle Fletcher just attacks him afterwards and just destroys Adam Cole afterwards. And this eventually leads to another match between the guys where Kyle Fletcher does get the big win. And this thus making just a big moment for the storyline and making a big moment for the TNT title as well, because now this feud has actually gotten to a place where Kyle Fletcher looks like more than just, your pretty boy heel. He actually is showing that he can do a lot more than just that. What he was doing with Will Ospreay, he can do that with others as well. It doesn't need to be just someone that, he has to prove that he hates, but that he truly just does hate in general. And it also just, again, gives a big moment for the TNT title, because now you're having this on the official All In card. So everyone's going to be like, whoa, this guy is that invested in this dang TNT title, and maybe I should be that much invested into this TNT title as well. So I'm going to go with Adam Cole getting the win here. Up next, we have the Hurt Syndicate versus the Patriarchy versus Jet Speed for the tag titles, and I think it's pretty much safe to say that Hurt Syndicate is going to be winning this match, especially after the Patriarchy and Jet Speed, well, mainly just Jet Speed, just decimated them this past Wednesday, and then, Patriarchy did step in with some concertos and all that. So I think it's very safe to say that Hurt Syndicate will get the win here. Will they be the team standing on top at the end, though? Because we do have FTR going to be there. Obviously, they're facing the Outrunners. They will be winning that match as well, I believe. But it's like, FTR has already said they're going to be getting involved in this match. Well, not really getting involved, but they're going to be watching the match, and that whatever happens does happen. do we eventually get FTR going after the Patriarchy, or are we getting FTR going after everybody? I think we're getting the match that we probably should have gotten at All In, which is FTR versus Christian and Cope at All Out. All Out is in Canada. Edge, is Edge from Canada? I just had a brain. Yeah, he's from Canada. Well, Cope, Edge. I'm calling him Edge. I'm not calling him Cope. Edge, Christian, both from Canada. Cope will finally be able to get his revenge against FTR while also being able to probably have his last match in AEW be in Toronto, Canada. Cope and Christian finally getting back together for the very last time, and they'll be able to get the big win against FTR there. You'll kind of be able to just bring this whole entire storyline with FTR and Cope to an end. And so I think that Hurt Syndicate are going to win, and I think it's because of the fact that FTR is going to take out the Patriarchy, and Hurt Syndicate is going to take out Jet Speed in this match. And then afterwards, things are going to be very interesting for that tag team scene, because then who the heck does get the win over the Hurt Syndicate? Is it potentially Cope and Christian? Do they go past All Out and do they continue being a tag team and just get one last World Tag Team title run? Are they the guy that take out the Hurt Syndicate? Maybe, maybe not. Who the heck knows? But I do think Hurt Syndicate are going to get the big win here. Not much to talk about with this other than just the other possibilities that could happen in this match. But hey, speaking of them tag matches though, next up we got to talk about Mr. William Ospreay III, bruv, and Swerve Strickland, bruv, versus the Founding Fathers, the Young Buckaroonies. This match is definitely interesting as hell, because I think there's a real world where Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland lose this match. I think that the Young Bucks need the win here more than Will and Swerve because of the fact, well, not really need the win. I think actually Will and Swerve need the loss here. Obviously, this is EVP titles versus can't challenge for the world title for a year for Will and Swerve. And for AEW, that might be best for business. Keeping Will and Swerve out of out of the world title scene for an entire year makes or justifies them going to the unified title scene, the TNT title scene, and the tag title scene. Heck, even the trios title scene. They want to find a third person. If Hangman wants to rock with them for, and get a trios title, sure, I guess. I personally wouldn't do it, but whatever. But I think allowing them to be in other scenes, like I have said before, where I think that you're going to need to have your big name guys possibly go down to the unified or to the TNT title scene, or even, I guess go aligned to, if the unified title is going to be treated as a world title, go to these other possible scenarios these other possible routes, so that it's not just, these guys only in one title scene, which is the world title scene, the world title scene, the world title scene, and it starts diminishing your other titles more and more, especially because this unified title is going to need big names there, and Swerve and Ospreay are as big of names as you possibly can get. But, there's always a but, and it is a BBL but. What if Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay go to the tag scene? I just said, what does Hurt Syndicate do afterwards? Do they possibly feud with Cope and Christian? Are Cope and Christian the guys that dethrone Hurt Syndicate? Or is it Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland, very reminiscent of Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso? Will Ospreay and Swerve, well, more so Swerve. Swerve Strickland has an ongoing feud with the Hurt Syndicate that never really got finished. He, could not beat Bobby Lashley. Both of these guys are going to want to go after MJF because of the fact that he could potentially be the world champion. But sadly, they can't go after MJF because of the fact that they can't challenge for a world title. MJF is going to be, poking fun at them and just continuing just to jab them the entire time that you guys can't hurt me, you guys can't touch me, you guys can beat me whatever you want, but you can't take my world title. What's that going to do? That's going to cause Swerve and Will to go after the tag titles, which is going to cause so much issues for the Hurt Syndicate, because before MJF, they had nobody they had to worry about. Everybody they were just destroying. Now, though, ever since MJF has been introduced, what happened? Jet Speed, Patriarchy, now Will and Swerve, everybody is getting the over on these guys because of the fact that they're having to protect MJF so dang much. This could eventually cause some cracks to start forming within the Hurt Syndicate, which leads to one of the two turning on the group, or possibly, well, not the group, but turning on MJF, which could eventually lead to one of these two guys turning on, or possibly even the whole entire group turning on MJF. Maybe MVP stays with MJF. Who the heck really knows what happens there, but I know for sure Bobby or Shelton will be going after MJF MJF. Maybe Shelton Benjamin goes after MJF and gets that world title finally, and it finally gets the respect that he should get, which is one of the best pound-for-pound wrestlers on the dang planet ever to have ever existed. And Will Ospreay kind of owes Swerve, because Will Ospreay put Swerve in this position to begin with. He didn't want to give up his world title shot for an entire year, so Will is going to have to pay back Swerve somehow, and by helping Swerve, take down the Hurt Syndicate, that's going to be a great way for Will Ospreay to pay back Swerve Strickland. So I'm going to go with the Young Bucks beating Will and Swerve. Also, to be fair, it's the Young Bucks. They should not lose to a makeshift tag team of Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland just because they are two of the best wrestlers on the planet. This is literally one of the greatest tag teams to ever touch the mat, and they're still one of the greatest tag teams in the world today. They should not lose to Will and Swerve, in my opinion. But hey, speaking of them elite boys, we got Kenneth Jerome Omega versus Kazuchika Okada. Part 5. Is this match going to be as great as we possibly think it is? Because that's the big thing with this match. Obviously, I think the winner is going to be Kenny Omega. I don't think Kazuchika Okada needs the win here. I think this could also mark the downfall of the Don Callis family, seeing as how Don's guys might all lose their matches. Konosuke Takeshita might lose a Supercard. The Ring of Honor ROH Supercard of Honor, Ring of Honor World Championship match against Bandito. Kyle Fletcher is going to end up losing his match to Adam Cole. Kazuchika Okada loses his match to Omega. That's going to cause a downfall. That's going to cause possibly one of these guys to break away. Could end up being a Konosuke Takeshita. Maybe he even wins this match, and that's what causes him to, eventually break away from the Don Callis family as well. But which would be good because I think he needs to be a face. He's much better to face, in my opinion. But I think Kenny needs to win here. I think this match is just really, can this be a 5-star match? Can this be a 5-star match? Or how close can it possibly be? Because Okada and Kota Ibushi looked awesome. It looked really damn good. That was a 4-star match right there. Can this match live up to the hype that we all believe it should be? And it's going to be on Okada. It's really going to be on Okada. I think Kenny Omega has this down. I think it's going to be fine with Kenny's side. Although I will say Kenny has slowed down a bit too. I talked about the Konosuke Takeshita match a while back, and I said that wasn't the greatest match in the world by any means. It was pretty good. It was not anywhere near as good as I thought it was going to be. Can this match live up to the hype? I think it should. This is Kenny. This is Okada. This is part 5. It should be a 5-star match. I think Kenneth Jerome Omega needs to win here more. He will be the first, and I guess not the only, because the unified title will not be retiring the International Continental title, and you're going to be wearing all 3 belts. So I guess you'll still be able to win the Continental belt if you're the person who hasn't won the Continental belt. I don't know. Actually know what the hell Tony Khan's doing with that, to be honest. That's really odd in my opinion. Also, carrying all 3 titles is actually even worse because not everybody in AEW could carry all 3 of them damn titles. You think Will Ospreay could carry 3 titles with that big old freaking coat? No. But I do think Kenny Omega should get the big win here. I don't think Okada needs this win at all. This could probably be going off into Okada, possibly just slowing down and not having as many matches, probably just coming around every once in a while, and maybe even just going back to New Japan and kind of just doing a lot more there, or just possibly even retiring. I mean, he's kind of accomplished everything that he really needed to accomplish. Multiple-time IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. He's the longest reigning Continental Champion. Probably will be the longest reigning Continental Champion ever. I don't think there's going to be a longer one than him. He's got his 5th match against Omega. I think this is pretty much it. Unless you really want to just... Well, I mean, you could do Okada versus Takeshita in the future if you really want to as well, which I do think that match will be happening. But it's like, I don't think that we probably need to see Okada much more, in my opinion, at least. Much more, in my opinion, at least. Just because, again, he's kind of just accomplished everything. So it's like, I think Kenny needs this just because he's going to be a much better transitional champion than I think Okada would. I don't think anybody's going to mind if Kenny is a transitional champion, holds this for about a month, drops it to Jay White at Forbidden Door, or even drops it to Jay White at All Out, one of the two. I do think Kenny is also going to get a big match. Oh, yeah, with him being Canadian as well. He will get a big match. He's also Japanese because of Japanese citizenship. Or, well, not Japanese, but he's a Japanese citizen. So he will get the big match at Forbidden Door. We'll get the big match at All Out. I think All Out is possibly where he could lose that belt to Jay White. There is all the rumors that Jay White is truly loved by Tony Khan, and so is Bullet Club Gold. I'm not calling him the Bang Bang Gang. It's a very, very freaky name, like my dang dentist, man. My goodness. But, maybe he's part of the Bang Gang. The Bang Bang Gang, too. Oh, my gosh. You know, in my attempt to not sound like Goku while laughing, I've now given myself a very evil laugh. That's interesting. But I think Kenny Omega, Jay White, that could be a Bullet Club kind of match. Former Bullet Club leaders, and this is where Jay White could possibly go over. Oh yeah, I was saying that Tony Khan really, really loves the Bullet Club and Jay White, and is reportedly a big plan to give them as big of a push as he possibly can give them. I think the unified title scene could definitely be where Jay White is at. I could also see Jay White being able to hold all 3 belts, along with Kenny Omega as well. I don't think Kazuchika Okada could hold 3 belts. I'm sorry. He's just not going to look cool with it. One around the waist, 2 over the arms? It doesn't really, no, sorry. Kenny Omega, we've already seen that man hold multiple belts. Looks absolutely awesome. Jay White, going to look just as dang good. Come on, man. It's a switchblade. It's a switchblade, man. Come on. So yeah, I think Kenny Omega is going to get the big win here. But next up, we have one of the 2 big world title matches, one of the 2 possible main events, that being Hangman Page versus Jon Moxley, Texas Death Match for the AEW world title. And I do believe, like I already said, I think Darby Allin is going to be the guy walking out of All In with that world title. But if we just exclude that for a second, just exclude the possibility of a cash-in, whether it is MJF or it is Darby Allin, and we just talk about who should win here, Hangman or Moxley, I think it should be Hangman. If we're just saying that nobody else is going to cash in anything like that, I think it should be Hangman. Only because if Darby is not winning, is not cashing in, if Darby doesn't win the Casino Gauntlet, we don't need the possibility of Darby Allin having to get a Team AEW and go against Moxley, because who are you going to get that's better? Like, who are you going to get? Hangman has Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, Katsuyori Shibata. He's got all these people helping him out. Who the hell does Darby get to help him out against Moxley? Are you really going to go all the way back and grab the conglomeration? I don't think that really makes the most sense, seeing as how that group should not be stronger than this current group. It wouldn't work at all. Okay, so you're not grabbing them. So then what the heck do? You have literally nobody for Darby to be able to defeat Moxley. Moxley, if he wins, who the heck is beating him? Is it actually Darby Allin? Is it going to be a returning Bryan Danielson possibly? Is it going to be Eddie Kingston? I feel like none of those stories are better than Hangman beating Moxley at All In. Again, Darby beating Moxley and Hangman is the possible best storyline, but if it's not going to happen at All In, then the best storyline is Hangman defeating Moxley, and I think that he should get the win. I think it makes the most sense in the world. I think everybody is not so much tired of the Death Riders, they're just more so tired of the endings that have happened with this whole entire faction, and it's like, you don't want to go on another possible year or even another 6 months with this storyline if you truly don't need to. Again, I think the Death Rider storyline should continue past All In. I made an entire video on this, but I think that at least the world title should be dropped at All In, and it's either Darby or it's Hangman. And so I think if Darby doesn't cash in, it should be Hangman getting the win here. But I'm still going to say I think Darby Allin should just cash in on this match and walk out with the AEW world title. And it's going to leave everybody pretty much confused as to, like, what the heck is actually going on with Darby? Why would he cost Hangman? But also we're happy because Moxley doesn't have that world title on him anymore either. So it's like, you know, very interesting going forward. A lot of interesting things that could happen post All In. But there's also another match that could possibly be the main event, and that is Mercedes Moné, Toni Storm, All In for the AEW Women's World Title. And I have been loving this story from the beginning. I told y'all that Toni Storm was going to bring up some things, and she brought up a whole lot. She called her unauthentic. She called her a fraud. She said that, she has no depth to her. She said that she's going to be the woman to always be known as the one who couldn't win the big one. I knew they were going to go with every single one of those possible points, and I loved every single second of it. I mean, I ain't love that she said she can't win the big one, because Mercedes, you could have easily said that Toni hasn't won the big one either in All In, seeing as how she wasn't able to win at 2023 or at 2024. So there is that. But, this storyline has just been amazing. I am super excited for this match. I think this match is going to be as awesome as I do believe it is going to be. There could be some shenanigans in this match as well, especially with the Casino Gauntlet winner, depending on who it exactly is. Jamie Hayter could get involved in this match. I could even see a world where, like, Athena possibly does win it, or maybe even a Willow does win it, and they try cashing in on this match. and here come the Renegade Twins to stop them. I think Mercedes is getting the Renegade Twins. Maybe even Camille comes back, one of the two, but I think this is going to be the start of the Mercedes Moné dynasty. I think she's going to hold this title for at least 6 to 8 months. I don't think she needs to probably drop it this year. I wouldn't be mad if she did drop it this year. But I think she probably drops the TBS title first after holding it, probably after breaking Jade Cargill's record, although I don't think she should break her record. I think that's fine. Just keep her records, whatever. But I think that Mercedes is going to get the win here. I like the thought of Toni getting the win. You have Miss It Factor in Mercedes Moné versus the woman who had defined it with Toni Storm. They've both now become two of the biggest women wrestlers of all time, probably in that top 5. Mercedes is definitely in that top 1, in my opinion. I think she is the woman wrestler all time. Toni Storm is sneaking her way into that top 5, and soon she's going to really be stamped into that top 5, especially if I see a major character change from her. Not like going away from what she does, but like just adding a whole lot more depth to this whole entire character that she has. If she does that, she in that top 5, possibly in that top 3. But it's like, I don't think she needs to win here. I think Toni can get her win next year. I think she needs to have her fall from grace, like a true fall from grace, because she didn't have it with Mariah. She just went back to being, rock star Toni. I think having a true fall from grace and just going on a major losing streak over the rest of this year, or just at least losing a lot of the big matches, not getting any kind of titles or anything like that, maybe even eventually getting a tag title. I think I might have said a storyline on here, or I said in a video about a possible Toni-Mina storyline where Mina picks Toni up. She's able to dust her all off and get her to remember who she once was. And then we get Toni and Mina as a tag team, and they eventually win the tag belt. And then, maybe Toni eventually backstabs Mina Shirakawa by thinking that, Mina is just trying to use her for the spotlight and all that stuff. Then we get a big storyline between Toni and Mina. Then we get Toni to go to All In and get her world title to finally get a big, win at All In as well. I could see that happening. I could even just see these two women running that storyline all the way to All In next year, where Toni doesn't get the big win this time, and then Toni goes on to having an amazing second half of 2026 as well. I mean, it'd be amazing just 2026 in general, but having an amazing second half of 2026, getting back into that, winning and eventually winning the world title sometime around like 2027-ish, maybe even 2026, but possibly 2027. I just think that Mercedes, this is her moment. I think that she's done so much for women's wrestling. She called herself the one-woman revolution. I don't believe that, but I will say that if it's not for her star power, we probably don't get Sasha Bayley at NXT TakeOver, which means that we probably don't get the women's revolution the way it went. So yeah, she might have a very good case for being the one-woman revolution. Like a lot of things have been built off of her back. I think Sasha and Charlotte got that main event Hell in a Cell match because of the star power of Sasha. Sasha and Bianca got that main event because of how big Sasha was around that time. So it's like, she does need her big moment. I feel like she needs her I have finally gotten the respect I deserve moment. These 6 titles, I think they're nice and all. They're not it, though. The AEW Women's World title at All In against the biggest superstar, Toni Storm, that is the match right there. That is the one that Mercedes Moné deserves, and I think that she should get the win, and I think she should go on to be the AEW Women's World Champion. But hey, man, I'm telling y'all right now, this pay-per-view, man, this is going to go down to be one of them ones. I truly believe that this is going to be an all-time classic pay-per-view. I don't want to set my expectations too high because I don't want to be, just ruined of expectations and this ends up being like, just not as great of a pay-per-view as I thought it was going to be. I think it is going to be a really good one, even if things that don't go my way, like, do happen. Like if Mercedes just beats Toni, there's no faction, that's fine. I think she should, but that's fine. If, Hangman and Moxley don't get cashed in on and it's just Hangman that wins, that's fine. If MJF wins the Casino Gauntlet, not Darby, that's fine. Like all of this is fine. Even if Adam Cole does lose to Kyle Fletcher, it's fine, because as long as everything just looks great at All In, that's all that matters. The buildup has been phenomenal. This has been the best buildup in wrestling. I'm absolutely loving this. Every single second has just been amazing from top to bottom. I feel like the only thing that hasn't been good here is the Women's Casino Gauntlet buildup. But other than that, everything else has just been built up really damn good. Adam Cole, Kyle Fletcher, Men's Casino Gauntlet, Hurt Syndicate, Patriarchy, Jet Speed, Omega versus Okada, Ospreay and Swerve versus the Young Bucks, Mercedes versus Toni, Hangman versus Moxley. Everything has just been built up damn near perfect. Just wish that women's Casino Gauntlet was built up a bit better and not just building up a damn women's tag scene. But whatever. Oh, man, I hate that so much. But another thing I hate too, and am I so happy to hate on this delicioso. This hate is about to be top tier. Y'all thought my hate in Nikita Lyons was, D1 hating. This is about to be D1 Heisman hating right here. A Hall of Fame NFL player hating right here. This is about to be the greatest hate of all time. I get to hate on TNA for being fucking stupid. Oh my gosh, yes. The TNA president is making it just so easy to hate this man and to hate everything about him. Let's start off with the fact that he signed Tessa Blanchard for literally no reason. The woman is the most hated woman in wrestling right now. That's like signing Hulk Hogan. Why would you sign her? I don't really know why you would sign her. Oh, wait, it's because he's a fucking idiot. That's why he would sign her. But this week, though, on a podcast that I'll have to go ahead and drop in the description because I actually don't remember the podcast's name, this dingus, well, I don't even know his name, by the way. This dingus said, and I quote, "We love our partnership with WWE because we're able to build up talent like Joe Hendry, Jordynne Grace, Nick Nemeth, the Hardys, Mustafa Ali, and then WWE is able to build them up even more." So you just said that your company has a ceiling. You just let every single person know that your company has a ceiling, that there is only so high you can get in TNA, that this is not the company to come to have a, to like become a superstar like how MJF said about AEW. No, this is the company to refine yourself, to rebuild yourself. This is that company. Rebuild yourself and then go on to WWE, go on to go on to AEW, go on to NXT. That's what you said about your company. And it's no wonder that everybody is leaving. It's no wonder that Jordynne Grace left, that Joe Hendry's about to leave, that Ace Austin left, that Josh Alexander left, that Speedball Mike Bayley left. It's no wonder that Will Ospreay did not sign to your company. It's no freaking wonder that nobody, like super duper mega big name is signing there or is leaving because you don't like because the president of the company be shucking and jiving for WWE and has admitted that he can't build a star into a superstar. Mind you, Joe Hendry was becoming the most famous wrestler on the planet, and you did nothing with him. And I said a while back that what the heck is going on with TNA and the building up of Joe Hendry? Why can you not make this guy into a much bigger superstar than he is when he's already internet famous? Why can't you do more? Why can't you turn Jordynne Grace into a dang superstar? She is one of she was the longest reigning Knockouts champion ever. She was, I think, maybe even the longest reigning TNA champion ever. Probably not that though, but she was, super dang big, backpacking the company. You couldn't do that. You got the Hardys there. You have the Hardys. You do nothing with them. You have Nick Nemeth there. You do nothing with him. You put him in the damn tag team for crying out loud. You have Mustafa Ali there. Super damn big at one point in time. Put no world title on him. Joe Hendry, super big at one point in time. Put no world title on him. Just because Jordynne Grace is leaving, I'll take the knockout title off her. Put it on the Masha Slamovich. Good job. You had Joe Hendry versus Nick Nemeth. What happened? JBL gets involved. That literally leads to nothing. Literally leads to nothing. Zero. Not a damn thing at all in the slightest. Okay. You do nothing with Ace Austin. Leon Slater is doing much of nothing. Like, you're doing nothing with any of your guys at all. And it's so... It's sad to see. It's sad to see. As someone who really loves old TNA, who loves the glory days of TNA, who thought TNA was just going to be stamped to be one of the big two, possibly big three if another company did come around. But I thought it was always going to at least be over, the next company coming up for at least a good 10 to 15 years of that company start. AEW is already just usurped TNA. And it's sad because I don't even think that should be the case. TNA should still be the second biggest company, but they're not. They're not. And as a wrestling fan today, it's super sad to see Ring of Honor die and TNA not even be dying, by the way, die. The TNA president saying that was the death of TNA. That right there was the moment that it just died. Everything that could be happening with the company going forward, it's just, no, it's dead. It's dead now. Whatever. It's going to get bought out by WWE. It's going to become NXT, and that's it. All of its history is just going to be, whatever. It's just going to be overwritten by a bunch of NXT wrestlers, and that's sad. That's sad in my opinion. It's a really awful. It's like an awful and great time for wrestling fans because AEW is on the rise, becoming the second biggest company in the world. NXT is starting to finally find its tracks again and get a little bit better. WWE is the biggest wrestling company in the world and is hopefully going to get on, hopefully get back on the tracks. You have MLP coming up who are potentially trying to get Ace Austin and really trying to build a company over there. You have MLW as well who have a lot of big names over there. You got the Twin Towers right now in Bishop Dwyer, aka or formerly known as Baron Corbin, and Dominic Dijak, also known as, just Dijak, or formerly known as Dijak. I think they also have Giselle Shaw. It could be them or MLP, one of the two, but they also have Giselle Shaw as well. You have Deadlock Pro Wrestling, which is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You have, New Legacy is doing their big thing on YouTube, getting much bigger with their gaming stuff. You have the Deadlock Pro Wrestling podcast, which is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I see it all the time over TikTok, and I've seen it all the time before I even started following them. That's just getting bigger and bigger. So it's like, they're just going to keep doing amazing things. GCW is eventually going to get back on track. They have Matt Cardona right now a lot of times over there. They have Shotzi Blackheart as well a lot of times over there. So it's like they're going to continue to get bigger and bigger. They have so much dang history as well. And it's like TNA is going to just continue to fall further and further down. It's going to fall further and further down. And it's just like, it's cool to see all these other companies coming up. I love that. I hope that one day we get some kind of like network that just hosts all of these different indie companies, like not like a Thriller, but more like an ESPN type of thing where it's like, it's an actual channel where you can watch 2 hours or an hour and a half of MLP and then watch an hour and a half of Deadlock Pro Wrestling and then watch an hour and a half of MLW. Like, that'd be really, really cool to see. But as of right now, it's, just Thriller or find some dang sites or YouTube. Even like a YouTube thing would be really cool where like all these companies, like, just came together and like were like posting on like one big old YouTube page or they were even just trying to, just post more on YouTube more frequently and more just right after the show does happen. And also, I'm gonna be real with y'all. Y'all that are running them pages, y'all got to get things cleaned up over there because them YouTube pages ain't looking the greatest. I don't really like how things look and all that stuff. That's what kind of makes it hard to really traverse the sites and all that, or the pages and all that, because they just, in my opinion at least, I'm not trying to hate, just in my opinion. But, I love seeing a lot of these indie companies becoming bigger and bigger because it's just better for me. I get to talk more wrestling. I get to watch more wrestling. So that's always great for me. But it's also a sad time because, like I said, TNA is dead. ROH is something. I don't really know what it is right now, but it's like companies, I don't know, man. Even seeing New Japan kind of just, go to dirt and just not really be what it once was, and it really just being like, just there. Like, that sucks. Stardom is starting to get more and more, but it's like, it's still just taking a lot for Stardom to be able to get really a lot of attention. Eve is becoming a much bigger name now. People are starting to learn about Eve more and more, and they have some pretty nice wrestlers over there. WoW has never really just been able to get on, at least in my opinion. They do. I have been watching a lot of their episodes, and they're really, really, great wrestlers over there, really entertaining wrestlers over there. But for some reason, they're just having a hard time with it as well. But, I think they're eventually going to get on, and it's just like, damn, two powerhouses in wrestling. TNA that had a storied history, and ROH that, doesn't have the same history, but more so just has some of like, a lot of people's stomping grounds. Samoa Joe, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Bryan Danielson, Nigel McGuinness, FTR, the Briscoes, Roxanne Perez, Athena was able to rebuild herself there. And it's like, ROH has kind of always been that. So we expected ROH to just, continue being the rebuild yourself kind of brand. TNA was supposed to be that third brand. It was supposed to be WWE, TNA, and now AEW. Or was supposed to always be the second brand at least, like I said. But it was always supposed to be like within like that big three because of just how much storied history it has. You have AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, their big old things. You have AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels' big feuds, AJ Styles and Samoa Joe's big stuff. You have Aces and H, you have Main Event Mafia, you have Kurt Angle, you have all this amazing stuff, Christian and all that. And it's just like, damn. Nope. It's just dead. And I should have always known that something was going to happen with TNA. With the way that Samoa Joe has won world championship, with the way that AJ Styles has won world championship, I should have always known that something was going to happen with TNA. that something was going to happen. You gave Samoa Joe like 15 X Division titles. You gave Christopher Daniels like 15 different X Division titles. Mind you, he was like the X Division guy, but like still, you know, you could have given him a lot more. But it's like, no, you didn't. I should have always known. But I didn't. Oh, Gail Kim as well. My bad. Gail Kim, Awesome Kong, Mickie James, Tara, what are their names? The beautiful. Forgot the damn names, but Angelina Love and Velvet Sky. Forgot their names. Like their tag team name. But it's like, you know, you have all this storied history there. And you're just like, we'll just let it die. We'll just let it die to be NXT TNA. It sucks. It sucks, but I'm not surprised at all. I'm really, really not. You've had so much amazing talent over the past few years. You had a guy like Will Ospreay literally come into your company, be there multiple times, and you just could not get him because he's seen probably the writing on the wall for the company. But then, cool, you had still, you know, Joe Hendry, Jordan Grace, Josh Alexander, Speedball Mike Bayley, Ace Austin, Leon Slater, Moose. You eventually got Nick Nemeth, then Mustafa Ali. You had, you know, some kind of workings in your women's knockout division, but you really didn't do much with it. I could have just said women's division. Still calling them knockouts, by the way. I don't really get the term, but whatever, I guess. But it's like, you know, you have Gail Kim there, for crying out loud, and you just let her go. Oh my God, this company is a shit show. I am so glad that I've just been able to, you know, finally just step away from TNA and say, I'm done. I'm not talking TNA unless it's to hate on TNA. I'm not investing anything into TNA, and I'm so glad that this fall off has actually happened, because you signed Tessa Blanchard. This is exactly what you get. If WWE signed Hulk Hogan right now and they fell off like within like the next 2-3 years, it'd be everything that they deserved. Because why would you sign a person that should not be signed? I don't care that Tessa Blanchard apologized and the lady forgave her. She spit in a black woman's face. There's just some acts that are just like unredeemable. I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't care if the person forgave her. The person might not even like forgave her because she really wanted to. She might have just forgave her because she just wanted to move on from it. She could also just be a religious person, and a lot of religious folk just believe in just forgive and forget and all that stuff and just moving on. So it might not even be something like, oh, you know, she truthfully forgave the woman. It's more so like she just, you know, forgave the woman because she wanted to get rid of it, or she wanted to get rid of the whole situation, or, you know, again, religious reasons and stuff like that. So yeah, no, I'm just glad that TNA's fall off has actually happened, because I've been, you know, hoping for this one for about the past year now. But speaking of falling off, let's go ahead and talk about these Seth Riders. This has been interesting. This has been very much so odd. You know, when you first seen this group, you're thinking Evolution. This is going to be Evolution. And no, not the woman's PLE. I mean, like, you know, Ric Flair, Triple H, Randy Orton, Batista. You think it's going to be Evolution. But then it's like, well, no, this isn't Evolution at all, because this doesn't really feel much like Evolution, you know? Like, this doesn't get like the same vibes of Evolution, you know, because Paul Heyman is not a wrestler. Ric Flair was still wrestling. Triple H kind of took more of a backseat at times. Seth Rollins isn't doing that at all. It's mainly just been him talking. He's talking more than Paul Heyman's talking. So it's like you have that. We finally see Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker get to talk like for the very first time. And it's just like, you know, really good promo. I actually really loved it. I thought it was something new from this group. You get Paul Heyman to finally talk, and Seth Rollins was like, well, damn, y'all said everything I needed to say. I mean, y'all said everything that needed to be said. So I guess Seth freaking Rollins, and that's it, just walks off. And that's kind of what they should have been doing from the beginning, but whatever. Like, Seth could talk, but at least not talking all the damn time. And it's just like, you know, you don't really do that. You really don't do much with the group. So it's like, I don't know how to feel about this group, because like, I feel like they're going to have a big moment going forward. I really, really do feel like they're going to have a big moment going forward. And it's just like, it's going to make the group look so much better. But as of right now, I'm still wondering if Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed should have ever been a part of this group. Like, sure, you know, this is putting Braun Breaker onto a much bigger pedestal. He's going to eventually, you know, become just an absolute superstar. I think he did have his breakout moment this past Monday Night Raw. But it's like, is this the best? Like, is this whole group really just, the whole thing is just, you know, to not be the most interesting and just build up Braun Breaker? I mean, if that's the case, then what the fuck is the point of putting Bronson Reed there? Are you not going to build him up? Are you going to do nothing with him? You still haven't really made much of any kind of reasoning as to why Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins are even working together to begin with. So nobody knows why the heck that's actually the case. And it's just like if that was always the case, that Braun Breaker was just always going to be, the end all of this group, why not just have Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker be together? Like, why do we got to go through this whole entire faction? Why does WWE seem to need to make everything 10 times harder than it truly needs to be? It doesn't need to be this hard. You could have just had Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker be together. You still could have ran Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn very much so easily. You did not need to go through all these different freaking hoops just to get to Braun Breaker being the future of WWE. You did not need to do it, but you decided to do it. And now we're here with this faction of Seth Riders that just looks whatever. They still ain't got a name. It's about almost 3 months in, and we still ain't got a damn name. Okay, so that's already bad as in itself. We are getting yet another Seth Riders tag team match that is probably gonna lead to nowhere. Child, this faction was pointless. This faction was pointless. It's done. What's been the impact? There's been no major impact at all. Like, at least with the Death Riders, you had Jon Moxley by himself at first and really showing that he is going to be taking over the company with or without anybody. And he takes the belt, he takes the number one contendership off of Darby Allin and then eventually goes after Bryan Danielson, ends up beating him in a match, and then, unalives the man afterwards. But it's like, you're at least seeing him do things. What did Seth Rollins do? What did he do? He, beat Roman Reigns and CM Punk because of Paul Heyman? He beat them because of Paul Heyman? What did he do afterwards? He gets Braun Breaker the next night? What did he do after that? He faces Jey Uso and loses? Mind you, I don't care about him losing, but it's like, okay, so you were involved in the CM Punk, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso storyline, and then, it's you and Braun Breaker versus CM Punk and Sami Zayn, and then you get Bronson Reed? You still really have not explained that well at all in the slightest, but okay. And then, we get the Night of Champions situation where you're looking like you're going to cash in multiple times. And then the next night you say, I was never going to cash in. Seth freaking Rollins. I was never going to cash in. I am the visionary. I'm the revolutionary. I was never going to cash in. Like, huh? So you tried cashing in multiple times in that match, by the way, but you weren't trying to cash in. You were just going to cost CM Punk. What? Like, it doesn't even feel like this faction was made to be, for the future. I feel like this faction was made to just stop CM Punk. That's what I feel like this whole faction has been the point of. To stop CM Punk and Roman Reigns from getting world title shots. Which, I guess. But, like, I don't know. This faction has been a whole pack of ass. It's been a whole pack of ass. I'm gonna be real with you, man. Like, I'm so for real with you. You've involved Penta in this storyline for no reason. He could have just been doing the El Grande stuff still. You didn't want to do that because for some reason you needed him to be in this whole entire storyline, which I don't think he needed to be in at all in the slightest. You involved LA Knight, which, okay. But you're not putting the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line, which you really should have, but you're not doing that. Okay. You have involved Sami Zayn in this, but he's also in the Karrion Kross storyline. Okay. And you have Jey Uso still in this damn storyline. Why? Why is he in this storyline? Just move him over to SmackDown. Have him go be the Bloodline. I don't want him really to be in any faction storylines, but good God, just put him with the damn Bloodline. It makes more sense. He doesn't need to be involved, and he doesn't need to be involved in this whole Seth Riders storyline. Be in the faction where your brother is at. Where your brother is getting destroyed at. Not in the faction where Sammy Uso, your adopted brother, is involved at. It just doesn't make any sense. And then you had Cody Rhodes being involved in it, but now he's not involved in it. What? What the Child. Oh my God. This thing is awful. It is absolutely trash. I'm giving this an F. This has been just a whole pack of ass. Like, the only great thing that's come from this is Braun Breaker looking like a damn superstar on Monday, and Seth Rollins Jey Uso match is a really damn good wrestling match. Other than that, nothing good has come from this. And I'm now going to say Braun Breaker should have won Money in the Bank. He should have won Money in the Bank. It should have been, if you care so much about the damn future, you care so much about pushing the future, this whole thing is revolved around Braun Breakers being a superstar and all that, you should have put the damn Money in the Bank onto him. You should have. Not put it on to Seth Rollins. There's literally no reason for Seth Rollins to have the damn Money in the Bank. It looks cool. That's cool. That's fine. But no. Also, Naomi's Money in the Bank looks really damn stupid. You have 5 different caution tapes. You got caution tape hanging off the side. It looks really damn stupid. I'm going to be real with you. Y'all like it, though, so that's fine. I just personally don't like it. But speaking of a horrible build, though, let's go ahead and talk about Evolution. Because, oh, baby. Oh, this build has been ugly. Now, this shouldn't be surprising. One, because major wrestling companies that have women, but, they're male-dominated, just hate women. That's already, just an obvious thing right there. I swear, I'm going to, just eventually just stop watching any major wrestling companies and just watch Eve, WoW, and Stardom, and any other all-women's wrestling companies I could find, because, good God, loving women's wrestling and being like a women's wrestling fan is just... It's not the easiest thing in the world, but this build-up should not be surprising by any means because WrestleMania 41 was built up like shit. The Royal Rumble was built up like shit. Elimination Chamber was built up like shit. Backlash was built up like shit. All the Saturday Night's main events have been built up like shit. Night of Matches was built up like shit. Money in the Bank was built up like shit. And the next Saturday Night's main event has also been built up like shit. Are we surprised? Are we surprised? Really? Are we actually surprised? What was the big build-up for the Royal Rumble? Nothing. The biggest build-up was Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. That was literally it. Literally it. Nothing else. No other build-up. Nothing. What the hell was the Charlotte Flair build-up? You had Charlotte Flair come back, and all the build-up was with a bunch of vignettes, which, by the way, we didn't even need. We did not need to have that at all in the slightest. Okay, so you got that. Horrible build-up. What else happened in the Royal Rumble? Oh, MCMG DIY. Shoulder shrug. Cody Rhodes and KO had a really good build-up. I will say that. But, the Royal Rumble matches themselves, not really good build-up, in my opinion. And then you had Elimination Chamber. The build-up was The Rock sexually harassing Cody Rhodes. That was the build-up. Was The Rock was just sexually harassing and caressing that boy Cody Rhodes. That was the whole build-up. Because it damn sure wasn't anything else. Oh, but the other build-up was, I am John Cena. My name is John Cena. John Cena will be in the Elimination Chamber match. Cool. Not much there. Okay, cool. The women's build-up, not much there. Not much there. You had Rhea Ripley and Iyo Sky you could have put on the card, but no, you had to have Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus versus Nia Jax and Candice LeRae for some odd freaking reason. You could have had Rhea Ripley versus Iyo Sky be there, but you didn't want to do that, so okay, whatever. That match had better build-up than the whole damn card itself. Then you have WrestleMania 41. Cena and Cody was amazing. Roman Seth Punk was so damn forced. Rhea Io Bianca was so damn forced. The Fatal 4-Way for the IC title was so damn forced. The US title was whatever, forced build-up, and it's not even that great of build-up in my opinion. The Raw Tag Team Championship had literally no build-up at all. You had Naomi and Jade, which had really dang good build-up, but not like the greatest by any means. You had better build-up with Naomi and Bianca than you really did Naomi and Jade. You didn't have the Women's U.S. Championship be there. You didn't have the SmackDown Tag Team Championship be there, even though you built those two up better than you built up the other ones. You had a random Women's Tag Team Championship match that got very odd build-up, to say the least. And just, yeah. El Grande versus Rey Mysterio was not the greatest of build-ups, and then you eventually switched to Rey Fenix, even though you had Penta literally right there, or Dragon Lee literally right there, but... I mean, Penta was involved in that Fatal 4-Way, which, again, odd, but okay. So it's you could have done that, but no, a lot of this has just been lazy build-up, and I don't even need to keep talking about the rest of these, but they've all been the exact same way, where it's one or two things has been built up really good, and that's it for the most part. Everything else has just been kind of whatever. That's the same thing with Evolution. Rhea and Iyo, I'm not counting as build-up. No, sorry, you're not getting that build-up. The fact that we even had this stupid-ass match happening is stupid. Tiffany Trish has had no build-up. Lyra, Becky, Bayley, build-up. Roxanne Raquel versus Aruka versus Kabuki Warriors versus Alexa and Charlotte, no build-up. Hell, Zaruka made it and they didn't even win a damn match. So that's stupid. Kabuki Warriors didn't win a match either, but I did call exactly what was gonna happen, which we will get into in a little bit. Jacy, Jayne, Jordynne Grace, no build-up. Women's Battle Royale, no build-up. Jade versus Naomi, build-up. That's it. 2 matches got build-up, and that's literally it. Now, I also made a TikTok saying the women should get, at least 50-50 screen time with the men for the next 2 weeks or get majority buildup, get majority of the time. They didn't get either one of those. They actually got less time. I told y'all that was going to happen, by the way. And so it's like, you really shouldn't be surprised that Evolution's buildup has been, this dang bad when it's like, what did we expect? What did we expect? This has been a year of just not building stuff up from WWE. This has been Triple H to a T. Go watch the Black and Gold era and actually watch it. Those shows were not built up that greatly, but the pay-per-view themselves looked amazing. But the shows were not built up the best besides one or two things, and that's it. And so it's like when you look at Evolution and being the way it is, it shouldn't be surprising in my opinion. But let's go ahead and talk about this Evolution because I'm going to be watching it because it's women's wrestling. And it's the only time, outside of like other, like obviously Stardom, Eve, WoW, that I'll actually be able to see an all-women's card. And this will be the first, and this will be the only time I can see it in a major professional wrestling company. So let's go ahead and just start off with the first big match that I want to talk about, which is the Women's Battle Royale. This is a number one contenders match that is going to be taking place in Clash in Paris for some odd reason, which makes me wonder if Blake Monroe will win this because you win the Battle Royale, you get to challenge your brand's top champion. Well, if Jordynne Grace or Jacy Jayne or even, I guess, Masha Slamovich, because there is that whole Slammiversary match between the TNA Knockouts champion and the NXT Women's World Champion, whether it's Jacy Jayne or Jordynne Grace, we'll be having a match there. It makes me wonder if Blake Monroe is going to possibly win the Battle Royale and then go on to face either Jacy or Jordynne at Clash in Paris, which I could see that being the possibility because you could easily have Blake Monroe cost either Jacy Jayne or Jordynne Grace, not the Evolution match, but the Slammiversary match, but it won't be costing them the title. They'll just be getting involved in the match to where we have Blake Monroe versus one of those two at that card in Clash in Paris, because sure, she is on NXT, and it is the NXT Women's Championship, but it's also going to be Blake Monroe and possibly Jordynne Grace. So it's like, that's a really big match to have at Clash in Paris, and with Blake being from, Europe and all that stuff, she gets the big win over Jordynne there, or even against Jacy there, that will do a lot of big numbers for WWE, and that's what they care about, is the big numbers. So I think Blake Monroe is a very, very high chance to win this. If they're going to stay with the main roster, possibly winning it, I could see it either being Nikki Bella or Stephanie Vaquet. I obviously don't want either one of them to get that win. I think, though, Stephanie makes the most sense, especially whether Iyo or Rhea does hold that title after Evolution. Both of those matches are going to be high marquee matches, especially Stephanie Vaquet versus Rhea Ripley. And then Stephanie versus Iyo, that's going to be a pretty dang good match as well. That could happen in Clash in Paris, and, they're just going to go crazy for Stephanie. So there's that. But Nikki Bella is also a very real possibility to get one final world championship opportunity against either Iyo Sky or against Rhea Ripley. Yeah, because she's on Raw, so it'd be one of those two. And I could see WWE, again, being all about the numbers and having Nikki versus Rhea. You have the quote-unquote face of the Divas Evolution, or Divas division, which she's clearly not, versus Rhea Ripley, the face of nowadays women's wrestling in WWE. So I could see that end up being a possibility. I am going to go on the outside of this, and I'm going to say I think Blake Monroe wins it. I think Blake Monroe wins, especially if WWE really wants to be petty and Toni Storm loses the night before. Blake Monroe wins. Obviously, everything that Toni said about Blake being stuck in purgatory and all that stuff and falling off wouldn't be the truth, because Toni would be falling off while Blake Monroe is getting more and more on. Heck, they might even move Blake up to the main roster and challenge either Tiffany Stratton or, Jade or Naomi or whoever the hell's holding that goddamn title. I can tell you right now who is not going to be. Or, possibly challenging Rhea or Iyo as well, or whoever the heck walks out of SummerSlam with that belt. So I could actually see that being an opportunity as well. I am going to go with Blake Monroe winning that match, though. I think it makes the most sense. You got to have her on this card, and I think she should get also the win as well, especially if her and Jordynne Grace end up losing at Great American Bash, and it's because Jordynne Grace gets pinned by like Jacy Jayne or Fallon Henley, One of the two. But speaking of Jacy, Jayne, and Jordynne Grace, though, we have this match happening next for the NXT Women's Championship. Obviously, this came about because we had 4 1v1 matches going into a fatal 4-way to be the number 1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship. There's a whole lot of 4s here, but Jordynne Grace is going to win in just 3 because it's going to be just a nice, easy little, not nice and easy. I think Jacy Jayne is actually really good. But I don't think Jacy's going to hold the belt that much longer. I think Jordynne Grace is going to end up winning the championship here because they really want Jordynne Grace versus Masha Slamovich at TNA Slammiversary. I don't think they want Jacy Jayne versus Masha Slamovich. I think Jordynne and Masha just writes itself. The woman that left, the woman that used to run TNA, left TNA, and now is going up against the woman who now runs TNA. I think it's a really dang good story right there. So I do have Jordynne Grace getting this win. Is there a world where Jacy Jayne could get the win? No. No, I'm sorry. This was always it was always going to be Jacy either losing to Blake Monroe or losing to Jordynne Grace, one of the two. And I think that Blake Monroe is going to get. I think Jordynne Grace is going to get the win here. Is there a world? You know what? No, there is one world. There's a very, very far away world in Europe that Blake Monroe could actually cost Jordynne Grace the match, and then, align herself with the fatal influence and eventually usurp Jacy Jayne and get the world championship, get the NXT world championship from her, because that is technically counted as the world champion. So she could get the NXT world championship from her, and then she leads that group and all that. I could see them running that instead of, being Fallon Henley, or maybe knocking off Jasmine Nix, one of the two, or maybe even knocking off, 2 of them, both Fallon and Jacy, and they bring in somebody else. I don't really know, to be honest, but I can see something like that happening. But I think Jordynne Grace does get the win here. But next up, though, we have a match. We have a match between Tiffany and Trish. Why the hell is this match happening? Why? Who the hell wants to see this match in the year 2025? Trish Stratus done put out a tweet saying that she will continue to be around, that the fans want her to be around, but the fans want her to go home, and she gonna go home. Trish Stratus, you can go ahead and pack your bags and go home. I will call you an Uber. Please go. Why is this match happening? This is stupid. Tiffany should be facing Chelsea Green, the woman who has been one of the hottest women in wrestling over this past year now. She should be getting this match because she earned this shot after being the inaugural Women's U.S. Champion, having a really damn good reign with it, and then not getting, any kind of PLE matches to defend that belt. She should be getting this match against Tiffany at Evolution, not Trish Stratus. I don't get it at all, but Tiffany's going to win. There's literally zero reasoning for Trish to win this match. Like, if there is a world where Jacy could possibly win the match, there's literally not a world where Trish wins this match at all in the slightest. Mind you, this could end up being an actually really good match because Tiffany will have these just very random, really good matches when nobody thinks it should be a good match. Like her and Jade's match was really, really damn good. So I could see a world where this is a really good match. I just think that this match is stupid. We did not need any kind of legends here at Evolution, in my opinion. I think that was the point of the first Evolution, not the second Evolution. You should have been showing, the evolution of your roster and stuff, but whatever, I guess. So, yeah, no, I think Tiffany wins this match. It's probably a very, very short match, like 7 to 9 minutes at most. Tiffany Stratton is the prettiest moonsault ever, and then she just walks out as the champion. Maybe Naomi cashes in, but probably not yet, because Naomi's going to be having a match with Jade, so I don't think she's going to be able to cash in because she's going to be probably pretty beaten up from that match. Speaking of Naomi and Jade, though, let's go ahead and talk about their match, which is a no-holds-barred match, and I do think Naomi gets the win here. Now, the only reason I wouldn't want to see Naomi win here is because if Naomi wins, we know what's going to happen. Naomi will win this match and then lose the cash-in because Jade won, Naomi lost. Jade won, Naomi won. They're 1-1. So the next time they have their, big interaction with each other, it's usually the person who just won the last time loses the next time. And that's why I would want Jade to win this match, only because of that. But I think Naomi needs the match to be able to continue to make this feud look somewhat interesting, because the fact that this portion of the feud has kind of died off a bit. The Naomi Jade Bianca storyline is still absolutely amazing, top tier, love the hell out of it. But Naomi and Jade, because they haven't had much interaction with each other, seeing as how Naomi's Money in the Bank holder, Jade was in Queen of the Ring, don't want to get involved with each other, because if you do, you might end up getting costed because of the fact of you getting involved with one another. So they've been staying away from each other. But the feud's also just not had any interactions at all. Not an interaction in the slightest, and it does suck. And it's like, damn, I wish there was a bit more with this. And Naomi's kind of also been the punching bag over the past few weeks. I think she does need this win. I just hope that this win does not actually lead to Naomi failing to cash in, because she cannot fail to cash in. And then it'll be even worse if Naomi fails to cash in and then Jade loses Queen of the Ring because of the fact that she stopped Naomi from cashing in. But, well, no, she didn't stop her from cashing in. She stopped her from winning the match. But then, like, you know, Tiffany ends up beating both of them. Also, Tiffany ended up beating both of them would also look very, very sick, because that little racist thing should not be beating both Jade and Naomi, but that's just on me. So, yeah. But next up, though, we do have, you know what? No, I'm talking about that match last, actually. Never mind. We have Roxanne... I was about to call her Roxanne Rodriguez. We have Roxanne Perez versus Raquel Rodriguez versus Zaruka versus Kabuki Warriors versus Alexa and Charlotte. This match got to be so goddamn thrown together, I swear. I mean, I like Alexa and Charlotte at least earning their way into the match. Zaruka literally just got announced for it, and I told everybody what was going to happen with the Kabuki Warriors. I told everybody Roxanne and Kairi would have a match. Raquel would get involved in said match. Asuka would come out to save Kairi, and then Asuka and Kairi would go backstage to go talk to Baldman Adam Pearce, and then Baldman Adam Pearce would give those two a match in the dang women's tag match. I just thought it was going to be Kabuki Warrior versus Roxanne and Raquel. Did not think that Zaruka and Alexa and Charlotte were going to get added to it, but I am happy to see that they were added to it, even though I don't think Zaruka earned their shot. They could have at least, you know, had a tag match, but whatever. Also, anybody that's crying about the Dungeon Dolls not making it, Maxine can't wrestle, and I don't like Natalya. I like Natty Neidhart. Give me Natty Neidhart, not Natalya. It's boring. Sorry. But Roxanne and Raquel should get the win here. I think that they need the win. Alexa and Charlotte winning is not bad by any means, especially if you do want to really start the Judgment Day downfall right now. But I think Roxanne and Raquel should get the win. I think Roxanne and Raquel could face Alexa and Charlotte again, and then Alexa and Charlotte get the win down the line. Like, they could have their match at SummerSlam, and this is where Liv Morgan costs Roxanne and Raquel, and then that eventually leads, you know, to their big feud once Liv Morgan can actually come back. But I think that it should be Roxanne and Raquel at Evolution, because of the fact that they just formed together as a tag team, and you had these women helping each other out at, you know, night of matches, and Raquel lost for some stupid reason. Y'all lucky that my head was hurting, because I was about to come in here and rip that match apart. But yeah, no, I think Roxanne and Raquel need the big win here. It's just, they need it. They need it. Nobody else needs the win other than these two. So I do believe they should get the win. I wish this was an eliminator match, because that'd be really dang cool. But sadly, it's just a fatal four-way. So I do believe that all four of the women probably will be in the ring at the exact same time. I think. I don't know. You even could have done like a ladder match here. That would have been really cool. There's just one stipulation on this damn card, and it's Jade and Naomi. Would have been really cool to have like a fatal four-way women's tag match. Especially because, you know, you got Sol Ruka there. You got Sol Ruka. Why would you not just want to have a TLC match? It would be perfect. You also have Kairi Sane there, who's a high flyer. You have Roxanne Perez, who's a pretty much kind of a high flyer. You got Alexa Bliss and Charlotte, who are not the highest of flyers, but they're high flyers in a sense. So they could do some really cool things in a ladder match. But I do think Roxanne and Raquel are going to get the big win here. And then next up, we have Rhea versus Iyo. And this match is a whole pack of stupid. This match is a whole entire pack of stupidity. Why the hell are we getting Rhea versus Iyo? Why? Iyo beat Rhea and Bianca at WrestleMania. Why is she still fighting Rhea? She beat Rhea multiple times. Why is this woman still fighting Rhea Ripley? Why can Rhea not do anything else? Why can she not do anything else? Why can this woman not be a part of any other freaking matches? Like, goodness gracious, all Rhea Ripley can do is be in the world title scene. She can't fight anybody else. She couldn't have just been a part of the dang Battle Royale, which I do believe that Bianca Belair will be returning to the Battle Royale as well, and I do think Saraya is going to be making her return to the Battle Royale as well. But you could have had Rhea and Bianca be in the Battle Royale. Could have had that big old stare down with each other. That would have been really dang cool, hyping up that match. Couldn't do that. You could have had Rhea and Saraya possibly having a stare off as well. Could have had Rhea and Nikki having well, I don't think that needs to happen, but you could have had that stare down as well. No, we couldn't do that. We needed Rhea versus Iyo. Which, mind you, why did Iyo even pick Rhea? Iyo literally said that she always wanted to have a match with Asuka. Why would you not pick Asuka? You have one opportunity. You had one job. Not one opportunity. You had one job, Iyo Sky. Pick Asuka. But you picked, apparently, the best wrestler in the roster, Rhea Ripley, even though you beat her multiple times. And Rhea's going to win. Because they've been hyping up this whole stupid thing of Rhea Ripley has never been Iyo Sky. So now we have to see Rhea Ripley get the World Championship again from Iyo Sky, who has done nothing for the past 7 weeks. 8 weeks now. No, 9 weeks. She has not had one match in the past 9 weeks. Not a single match. Her last match was May 12th. And watch, after she loses this match, I guarantee she's going to be featured on TV weekly. So stupid. So dang stupid. But Rhea's going to win this match. And then lastly, we're going to end this off with some great stuff to talk about. Miss Lyra Valkyria, who, tried shoulder checking Bayley, and that just went absolutely awful. Lyra, you lost all aura doing that. Versus Becky Lynch versus the woman with no last name, Bayley. This is going to be an absolutely phenomenal match. In my opinion, it should be the main event. This match is just going to be hopefully top tier. I only say hopefully because we have seen Lyra not look the greatest in multi-women's matches, but Lyra and Becky got chemistry. Lyra and Bayley got chemistry. Becky and Bayley obviously have so much chemistry. So it's like this match should be the elite of elite matches. Like I think Lyra, Becky, Bayley, and Mercedes and Toni could end up being the matches of the week. I do also think there's a very real possibility that Roxanne, Raquel, Zaruka, Kabuki Warriors, and Alexa and Charlotte could also have the one of those top tier matches, especially if Lyra, Becky, Bayley isn't as good because of the fact that Lyra is just not able to have as great of a multi-woman match as, Becky and Bayley could easily have because they've had multi-woman matches and they've had elite multi-woman matches before. But I do think that Becky needs to win here. I don't think Becky needs a short reign by any means. I think she could easily lose it at SummerSlam. I think she should pin Lyra Valkyria, and that leads into Becky and Bayley's heated feud going into SummerSlam, where Bayley would dethrone Becky there. I think Becky needs this win, though. I mean, she did win the last Evolution, but I think that she really needs a big win here to just solidify the IC title. Kind of the same way I said like with Adam Cole and Kyle Fletcher is that, the TNT Championship really needs like a super major storyline. I think Becky, if she loses to like Lyra or Bayley here, especially losing to Lyra would just make no sense. It would be like as if Daniel Garcia beat Adam Cole after Adam Cole just beat Daniel Garcia. Like that wouldn't make any sense at all. So it's like, I think this IC title is having such an amazing run right now. And I think if Becky is able to win past this, that's going to be really, really good. And then going on to lose to Bayley at one SummerSlam, because then Bayley could eventually go on to face against Roxanne or even face against Lyra or even run a triple threat between Roxanne, Bayley, and Lyra. Or, you eventually run Bayley versus Liv, and then Roxanne gets involved, and you have like a big old match there with all these women and yada, 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 stuff like that. Or even get like a number of contenders of Lyra, Roxanne, Liv going against Bayley eventually. We could do a whole lot there. And so I do believe that Becky Lynch should win here and then have Bayley win at SummerSlam. But overall, I think that this Evolution card is going to be really damn great. I think the matches are going to be awesome. I think the buildup has been, just completely shit, but I'm super locked in. I think the best match here is likely going to end up being Lyra, Becky, Bayley. And the worst match here, I think, is going to be Rhea versus Iyo. I think Rhea has given Iyo some of her worst matches. I don't think she's going to give her a good match this time. I know people are like skeptical of Jacy versus Jordynne or Jade versus Naomi, but Jade and Naomi are having a no-holds-barred match. That match should be just really damn good. Jacy and Jordynne, Jayne is a really damn good wrestler. Even if Jordynne Grace is a pretty good wrestler, I think Jacy will be able to carry Jordynne enough. The women's Battle Royale, you really can't judge a Battle Royale, to be honest. It's not the easiest thing to judge until it gets like down to like the final women. And even then, like the last time they had one, Athena was just hoping. I expect there are going to be some hoopers at the end. So I think that one's going to be fine. Tiffany and Trish could be the worst match, but also could be like a really dang good match. I don't have much expectations for that match, though, to be honest. So, yeah, I think it's either going to be Lyra, Becky, Bayley, or Roxanne, Raquel versus Zaruka, Kabuki Warriors versus Alexa and Charlotte. But that's going to be for me, though. Y'all definitely hope y'all did enjoy this episode. I had to give y'all a bit longer episode this time because it is the comeback. Had to come back strong with it, even though my head is absolutely killing me right now. Definitely hope y'all did enjoy this episode, though. As always, if you did, like, subscribe, notification bells, wherever you're at, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcast at, just hitting all the buttons that you possibly can hit to help the podcast out. Commenting definitely does help out. Shout out to all the Patreon subs as well. Each and every single one of y'all. Appreciate y'all so much. Here's a big old kiss for y'all. But that's going to be for me, though, y'all. I'm out. Y'all have a great one. Peace, everybody.